Live from the House of LeMay Makeup and Dressing Room.
Here comes Amber. Stop what you're doing. Here comes Amber. She's just doing what she can. Here comes Amber. Cue the spotlight. Here comes Amber with 2 drinks in her hand. The matriarch of fashion, secrets to her glasses, you can't look away. Ask her, does she do it? There's really nothing to it. She's got that feminine gaze. If you have a party, or if you're feeling naughty, call up the House of LeMay. Here comes your favorite gal. Here comes your queen. Here comes the talk of the town. It's Amber Live tonight. The music starts playing. It's time for cabareting on Amber Live tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, please turn off all cell phones and get ready for your host, Amber LeMay.
Hello, hello, hello. Did you remember to spring forward instead of falling back? If not, you might miss tonight's show. We'd hate to have that happen because we want you to like, share, and subscribe. Yes, tell all your friends to get on the phone and say, hey, you want to watch Amber Live tonight? And we're going to tell you why. Come on in, Russell.
Hey, Amber. How are you?
Russell? Oh, I'm doing fine. Oh, I tell you, so much reaction from last week's show, and people saying, oh, I can't wait for part 2. And that's tonight. Yes.
Yes, and we already know what's going to happen, but...
Stick around. But first, we want to make sure everybody watches it in the best possible condition. Well, condition? What's the best way to watch?
Well, the best way to watch is on YouTube, and we highly recommend that everybody who's not on YouTube go over to youtube.com/AmberLive. And there's a couple reasons for that. One is that a lot of our people who watch the show watch it on YouTube, and they get on the chat there and talk to each other during the show. So it's a lot more fun if you interact over there. And then also it's in full HD on YouTube. So you should go there to watch. And then I do recommend our TikTok, our Instagram, and our website, which are all out there and have lots of other material for you to watch and keep up to date on what's going on Amber Live. And so there's just tons of Amber out there, but YouTube is the place to watch the regular show.
And while you're on YouTube, look over there. There's over 600 videos on the Amber Live channel. Some full episodes of all of our shows, but also sparse with segments of interviews, some funny stuff, and things you didn't see on air. So you want to go over there and watch on YouTube.
There's some stuff from very early Amber LeMay way back when that you can find on there too. So we don't want to hear you're bored because there's a lot of material to go watch. So get on over there.
Yes. And what else do you want to talk about before we get the show started, Russell?
Well, Wednesday nights we do Amber Chat. Which we want to talk about. Let's not forget that. So in addition to all the material on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, if you are enjoying Amber, you can get on live. You can chat with her on Wednesday nights. You can tell her all about what you're doing. We sort of shoot the shit and talk about whatever comes up. We talk about what we have for dinner, talk about what's going on around the world, what's good on TV, anything people want to talk about. And if you've got something great to share with us, you can even come on the show on Wednesday nights.
It's become sort of our own community because we have our own buttons, the Amber Screw buttons there that people have and we wear during the show. And it's just a nice thing. People from all over the world have talked to us, from Australia, London, Canada. We got several friends from Canada. It's just a lot of fun.
You never know who's going to show up. You just never know.
No.
And what keeps it all going is the bustiers. And we love our bustiers, and we always want to thank them. We have so many of them helping us out again this year. So thank you all to the bustiers. If you'd like to become either a super bustier or a regular bustier, you could use that Venmo there at RJD Pro to send us some support. Or you can go right to amberlive.tv and look for the Support Amber Live button, and you can use a credit card there. Now, if you any amount is welcome, it's all helps. But if you give $25 or more, I will send you a sticker of our logo. If you give $100 or more, we've got stickers and these great magnets that you can put on your fridge or whatever you've got on the filing cabinet. If anyone still has those, whatever you've got that's metallic. And for $200 or more, you can get a sticker, a magnet, and one of our great Amber Live mugs. And we really do love the mugs. They are fantastic. So please become a supporter of Amber Live, become a bustier, use Venmo at RJD Pro, or go to the amberlive.tv and look for the support Amber Live button. And there's
I
one of the
love looking at
mugs.
that list. I love looking at that list of people because not only it is a bunch of our dear friends, but also past guests and even relatives of past guests. That's pretty cool
Yes.
too. That they love to support Amber Live. All right, let's get on with the show. Russell, tell us what's happening.
Oh my goodness, what's happening is part two of the Charles Busch interview. Now, if you watched last week, you saw an incredible first half of this video. When we met with Charles Busch, he talked with us for almost 2 hours, and we have so much material. I had to cut some of it out that hopefully someday we can get out there for you to see. But the rest of it is all here in this interview, and it's going to be fantastic. And then, of course, we've also got our regulars coming in. We've got some Rusty Peen, we've got some Rocco, and even
Rocco.
Pass the Tea.
Oh, it's getting so exciting on RuPaul's Drag Race, and Emoji Nightmare is the one to tell us all about it. That's coming up. All right, as Russell said, it's time for more of our Charles Busch interview. So let's start it right now. We've covered a lot of ground with Charles Busch, but there is so much more to his life to talk about, and I can't wait to get to it. Charles, come back in. All right. So
This
we've
is your
talked
life.
about oh, Ralph Edwards. I'll be Ralph Edwards. Sure. Oh, Google Ralph Edwards for those who don't know. You made the movies, you made that, and then television. You hadn't been in television before. Tell me about your first television appearance.
Well, I haven't done that much, to be honest with you. Uh, well, I was a regular for 2 seasons on that wonderful HBO series Oz, and
Yes.
yes, and that was very exciting. That again, that I, I I didn't have to audition or anything. It was because I have not pursued an outside acting career, and I think I was a big fan of that show. And I was talking to Jeff Melnick, my great manager. He would just I miss him so much, and he we were together 30 years, and he
Wow.
just passed away and about a year ago, and uh, I just miss him so much. I mean, he thought more of me than I do, and it's very rare to have a representative that actually has. I would be embarrassed sometimes that he would carry on about my importance. That was far more than it is, and but how nice to actually have somebody as that kind of belief in you. Anyway, I was on the phone with Jeff, just saying how much I was a fan of the TV show Oz, and I wasn't serious. I just was. I said, "Oh boy, it'd be cool to be on a show like that." Well, when we got off the phone, he contacted the casting office, and they thought it was a funny idea, and next thing I knew, they shot in New York actually, and
Yeah.
uh, just a few blocks from where I live actually. But so it was an appointment was made for me to meet Tom Fontana, the producer creator of the show, and we had a friend in common. He had been to some of my plays, so it wasn't like I was totally unknown to him. And he said, "I'd love to be on the show. Who would you like to play?" And I said, "Well, I said I'm about the least street person there is." I said, "But I could play because it was a gritty, violent
Yeah.
show." I said I could play somebody who's deceptively fragile, but is really a lethal killer underneath. And he said, "Well, I'll work on it." And I didn't think I'd ever hear from him again. Then a few months later, I got a call. "What's your availability on these dates to film?" Well, oh my God! And he created a character for me, Nat Ginsburg, who was exactly the character I described, and I had some really fun episodes. And I was on 2 seasons, and then they killed me off.
Now, were you in the shower with Chris Maloney?
No, but the funny thing, I am responsible for one of his more erotic scenes that
Oh, oh,
it was my first episode and I got the script. And see, the thing is, when you when you don't pursue a traditional career, it gives you a certain kind of freedom of not being afraid of burning bridges. If I had been just kind of a regular actor, I shouldn't say that. There's a protocol, but I didn't really care. So I read this first script, and in it, they would have occasionally these little fantasy sequences about the different inmates. And in this one, it said that Nat appears in a woman's bra and panties, and it just bugged me. And I kept thinking about that, but they don't know. The audience hasn't seen me before, so will they know that that's the fantasy sequence, or that's the first time they're going to be introduced to me? I don't know. I just didn't want to do it, and so any other actor would like just kept their mouth shut. But I don't know. I just told Tom Fontana. So I don't want to do it. It was like Fanny Bryce with Ziegfeld, and I said because I was a fan of the show, I said it'd be having me, so androgynous, being in the bra and panties means nothing. I said, but Chris Maloney having a big butch sexy guy, having him like dressed like that would be kind of perverse, and so they did it with him, and he got into it, because he was just game for anything. Yeah. And then later, I did work with him. We had not done Die Mommy Die on stage in New York yet, and so we did a big Actors Fund one night benefit of it with a great cast. We got Chris Maloney to play Jason Priestley's role, so I got to do that. So he's a great guy, great guy. So yes, we did that.
yeah.
But
And
yeah,
not hard to look at either. He's nice to look at.
yep, yep, yeah, just very, very free with his, body, and very comfortable with himself. Yeah, so and then later we did on the basis of that one night event, we did a full off Broadway production of Die Mommy Die here in New York, which was a lot of fun.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What other television shows have you appeared in?
I'm not sure. Have I ever really done any other? Oh
Okay.
yes, I was. There was a thing called Lipstick Jungle that I was asked to be on, that I did an episode of. Uh,
Law and Order. Have you been in any of the Law and
no,
Orders?
no.
You're the only
Lately,
New York actor who's
I think,
never been in a
yeah,
Law and Order.
yeah. Lately, it's funny. During this pandemic, for some reason, I, I've I've been getting these offers, not for the role. They want me to put myself on tape for it. It's still different, and I don't know. They're pretty humiliating parts. Just, it seems like each part they want me to play is somebody who's impaled, you know, through their rectum or something. I mean, it's just, I mean, some like really grotesque thing on one of these procedural shows, and not Law and Order. And so I usually say that's all right. I did that wonderful series, The Marvelous Mrs Maisel. They contacted me about putting myself on tape for a part of an older homosexual, and so I thought, well, I should have the experience. All my actor friends are putting themselves on tape. I should just have the experience, see what it's like, and I don't know. It just, since I never did it before and I'm not accustomed to auditioning, it just turned into a whole, Wagnerian uh, opera involving my friend Kathy and my friend Ashley, and I was just going through all sorts of drama, and we have to do a retake. We have to redo it again. It's terrible. Oh, I shouldn't do this at all. And who am I kidding? And I'm not going to get this thing. This is ridiculous. Anyway, we did it, and I did not get the part. I was told that I really wasn't believable as an older homosexual, uh, and
Ageist.
I wasn't believable. Somehow frankly, I didn't think I really was quite right either for the part, But they ended up casting John Waters in it, who was much more suited for the part of this elegant older, wise fellow. But the final twist is that months later, a couple months later, I was looking out my window and I saw the trucks and lights because they shoot a lot of things in my neighborhood. It's very picturesque. And I realized they're shooting the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. And I am looking across the street and I see John Waters. They're shooting my scene. Talking about sticking a knife deep in your back. I mean, the odds, I mean, really, Amber, the odds that you lose the part and that you see them shooting the scene outside your apartment. Cruel.
I
Cruel.
think that you should have gone out and offered something to them.
I should have dumped water on their heads. Yeah. Anyway.
Let's jump ahead a few years up to The Tale of the Allergist's Wife. That's mainstream. How did you go to mainstream theater like that?
Well, there's a series of good things. Because I wasn't, that really wasn't my great dream. I've really enjoyed my career, and writing these plays and starring in them, and we've transferred a number of them to nice theaters. It's not like my career was all just performing for pinheads and carny folk. I mean, always, been legit for a while, but I just didn't really, I didn't really think like the big goal was to be in a Broadway house. But then I wrote the book to a musical called The Green Heart, and it was produced by Manhattan Theater Club, which is one of the top nonprofit theaters in the country, but and here in New York City, and we Ken was directing that, and I really hit it off with Lynn Meadow, who's the artistic director of that theater. And when we opened, and it was not, really not a big success, but Lynn said, "Oh, I'd love to produce your next play, whatever that is." And they're a pretty square, conservative, theater. They're loosening up now, but I thought, well, I see what kind of play could I write for them, and I had this character that I had performed in a solo show called Miriam Passman, who was this very raging New York, lady who was kind of had all sorts of cultural aspirations, and I thought she'd be a fun character to write a play around, and that would really be right for Manhattan Theater Club's, audience. She is their audience, and it might be fun for them to see themselves, on stage. So I wrote the play, and over the course of a year, and gave it to Lynn, and she loved it, and said, "Let's do a reading right away. And who would you picture playing the lead?" And I thought it would be really good for Linda Lavin. Be really right for it. And she did the reading, and then it would all just kind of happened. And then we opened at Manhattan Theater Club with this great cast, including Michelle Lee and Tony Roberts, and then it was very well received. And so right away there were plans to transfer it to Broadway, but that was not, I kind of took one thing at a time. Once it was at Manhattan Theater Club, though, I have to say, my dream, I thought, oh, well, this should transfer. It's that kind of play, and so then Daryl Roth and a couple of the producers came in and moved it to the Barrymore Theater, where Streetcar Named Desire played and Raisin in the Sun, and it was just absolute thrilling thing. I mean, I hadn't anticipated it, but once it was there, believe me, I appreciated it. It was just.
On opening night, did you think, "I've finally made it," or was it just another gig, or was it just another step in your career?
Well, to be honest, it kind of bugged me a little bit. I mean, it was absolutely thrilling, and just everybody in the world should have a Broadway hit. I mean, it's the most extraordinary. I mean, it's just the most extraordinary thing. It's fabulous. That said, it did bug me a little bit, though, when people meaning well would say to me, "Oh, isn't it great that you're finally mainstream?" Because it implied, but maybe that's just my, where I was coming from. It implied that somehow everything I'd been doing for the previous 20 years was somehow not quite legit. When, there were plays that ran a long time and played at prestigious theaters, and so I that kind of bugged me. But then I got over it. I got over it, and when the checks started coming in, I got over it, and it ran about 2 years. It's I believe I think it's like the longest running Broadway comedy of the past 25 years. But of course,
Wow.
it's one of the only Broadway comedies of the past 25 years. So, but I own it. So,
Neil Simon hasn't written one for a while, so.
no. And then I got the Tony nomination.
But that wasn't your last venture into Broadway. You wrote the book for Taboo, the musical about Boy George.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, I've had the experience. I've had two Broadway experiences. I've had the experience of having a hit show, and I've had the experience of having a notorious flop. And so both it's necessary. Well, Taboo, Rosie O'Donnell was
Yeah.
the producer. She had finished her TV show, and she had gone to London, and she'd seen this production of Taboo, which was the score was by Boy George, and it was about his youth, his early days. There was a movement in London called the New Romantics that he came out of. It was very similar to my experience in the East Village. And so this show was about the young Boy George, and also this fascinating performance artist designer named Lee Bowery. And it was kind of about the two of them. And when Rosie went to see it, George had replaced the actor playing Lee Bowery, and so he played that part the night she was there, and a young actor named Ewan Morton played the young Boy George, and Rosie just flipped over the show, and it was done in this kind of slightly rough-edged kind of venue club, and she flipped over it, and she decided that she wanted to produce it on Broadway. And she would be the sole producer, sole investor, because she believed it, and that's what she wanted to do. And but she didn't care for the book very much. And she had been a big fan of The Allergist's Wife, and all of our various ladies, Linda Lavin and Michelle Lee and Valerie Harper, who replaced Linda. They'd all been on her TV show. So she kind of had me in mind, and I guess it made sense that, as a drag performer and having been this kind of through the whole East Village scene, but also having kind of cred as a Broadway writer, that I would be a very good, idea to write a new book for Taboo. When I met with her, I didn't think it was a good idea. Just the little I know about Broadway musicals is that it would seem that the music and the book are so intertwined that you can't sort of write a brand new whole new storyline for an existing score. But Rosie, and she's a big personality. I'm really crazy about her, and she wanted me, and I think she could sense that I was kind of pulling back. But she said, "Okay, look, why don't you just fly with me to London this weekend, and we'll see the show." And I thought, I'll go. It'll just be a funny story for me to tell everybody about my weekend in London with Rosie O'Donnell.
Rosie.
That was kind of, first class. So we went, and I saw the show, and I sort of saw what she meant, and I thought, oh, well, maybe all the people who loved Boy George in the 80s, now they're middle-aged, and that's the Broadway ticket buyers. Maybe she's on, Rosie's kind of canny, maybe she knows. So it's okay. And she's my old manager. He said she was the best person in the world to negotiate with. She gives you what you think you're worth, and the check arrives on time. There was no haggling. So I did, but then it was something of a nightmare. But there are legendary stories of Broadway musicals and how people hardly survive it. And I thought I was going to have a stroke. I really didn't think I literally was going to survive it. And just the mistake she made in a sense, was that Broadway musicals generally they're tried out somewhere first. There's production out of town, and then they see it there and then decide to go to Broadway. Or in the old days, and it still happens a bit, you preview in Boston or Philadelphia and have that experience of seeing the whole show, and then you're quickly doing changes. Well, she couldn't spend that much money. I mean, she spent $10 million, but to do that would have even been more. So we opened cold in New York, with just all the vultures ready to pounce online, and so it just it needed a lot of work, and there were just many problems, and you know so we did the best we could, and yet and so the critics just were just vicious about Rosie. It is so unfair. The same theater critics that had written all sorts of think pieces for years about how it's just terrible that on Broadway a musical has 30 30 producers who just write checks and all that. And here, and they bemoan the old days when there would be one producer, or people who believed in their own properties. Well, here they had Rosie, the sole producer and the sole investor, but then they used that against her. That you know, and I guess in her enthusiasm, she's uncensored personality. She would just say to everybody, "Oh, it's going to be a huge hit. We're going to win all the Tonys." And I'd say to her, I said, "Don't you think they're going to use that against you?" And so I can't help it. That's the way I feel. I love it. And in fact, they just were ready to attack her, and it was really unfair because I thought the show was something of a mess, to be quite honest with you. But other people, shockingly, it had this cult following. People would see it over and over, dress up like the characters, and then like Stephen Sondheim came to the show, and I knew him a bit. He was very encouraging to me, like he was to a lot of younger people. And I saw him at the theater afterwards, and he said, "Oh, I really loved it." And I said, "What?" And because I thought it was kind of a big mess, and he said, "Oh, I was very moved." And he said, "I wept a little." I said, "What, for the future of the American musical?" No, he said it was about something, and he said it was music that wouldn't really be my interest, but it was very melodic, and yeah. And then other people too, Tony Kushner and Susan Stroman. I mean, these really like heavyweight people all loved it.
Yeah.
I got whatever. Okay. They, I don't see it, but because when you're involved in something, either it's yeah, sometimes you just can't get past the nightmare of the what went on, backstage or whatever.
So you had to have met Boy George and probably worked with him a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you call him?
I don't like bad mouthing anybody. However, no, I don't know. I guess he's got his good points.
No, I mean, what if you how did you address him?
George.
How did you address him?
Call him George. His name George.
George. Okay.
Well, his name's George O'Dowd. and yeah, nobody calls him Boy. It's just George. It was kind of funny though. First time I met him. Well, I guess I met him because when I guess he was in the show, and I saw him when I went with Rosie to London. And then maybe it was that same weekend that we went to his house, and he had this marvelous rock star mansion, and I remember saying to him, because he'd had many problems and drugs and all that in the past, and I said, and he'd lived in this house for many years, and big estate, and I said, I'm surprised you never lost the house with all your problems. He said I was crazy, but I wasn't that crazy. Yeah, but I remember once. So we were in his house, Rosie and I, and he was going to do he was going to repaint the walls of some room, and he said, "Oh, I want to show you. Got to show you the color of what I'm painting the walls." And so he goes on his computer, and we're waiting to see the color of the paint, and it's taking like 10 minutes to download, and I'm sitting there, I had to say, I thought, I can't believe I'm finally in a rock star's mansion. I am so bored. And he started laughing, So I thought, oh, maybe this will work out. But I don't know. It just does. Broadway musical. It doesn't bring out the best in people, and I did not find him a good collaborator. I'll leave it. I'll leave it at that. And I think he was disappointed. The show's a big flop, and it'd been a hit in London, and so I think he sort of blamed. I can see why he sort of blamed his Broadway collaborators. I don't know.
All right. We'll close out this segment on Broadway, and after this break, we'll catch up with what are you doing today. So
Okay.
we'll be right back. But wait, there's more coming up. But first, let's talk back to Russell.
Hello. Oh my goodness. I love listening to Charles Busch. I've been editing him for this interview for like two full weeks now, or more, and it never gets tiring to listen to him. He's just so fascinating.
So relaxed, so forthcoming, and just matter of fact. And like I said, he spent 2 hours with us on a Saturday afternoon.
And he's done it all.
Yes, and we've got more coming up. We've got Pass the Tea with Emoji Nightmare. We've got Rusty Peen. We've got Rocco, and of course, Boog and Shug at the end. And one more plug for the Bustiers.
Yes, let's not forget our supporters, the Bustiers, who are so important. They're the people who help us out, help keep the lights on in Amber's basement, and help us keep bringing in such great guests like Charles Busch. So please use that Venmo at RJD Pro, or go to amberlive.tv and look for the support Amber Live button, and you can send us your support. And thank you to all our Bustiers.
And on with the show.
Well, first we have a word from one of our sponsors.
Hey, it's Lucy Bell. Have you visited the Amber Live store to get your own amazing Amber Live merch? Just visit amberlive.tv and you can see all the incredible items we have for you. Regular coffee mugs, large coffee mugs, and even magic coffee mugs. T-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, tote bags, and even beach towels. Y'all, they make great gifts for your friends. I've got mine. Just visit the Amber store at amberlive.tv and order yours today.
Thank you, Lucy Bell. It's good to see you. We can't wait till she comes back with Bitchin' in the Kitchen. But first, we've got some Rusty Peen for you. Come on in, Rusty.
Thinking and drinking with Rusty Peen. Oh shit, dude! Welcome to another edition of Thinking and Drinking. I'm Rusty Peen, president of the Beaver Pond Guns and Taco Society, and our mission is to arm more drag queens, cause a loaded drag queen is a safe drag queen, dude. There is this thing in the fucking news about how there's teachers overwhelmed by the fucking education system, and they're fucking quitting them left, right, and center, dude. As a parent, I'm fucking concerned about what my little fucking peen pods are learning in school, dude. Ma Peen is always saying, Rusty, you're always too shit-faced to know the names of all your little fucking peen pods. Well, I got news for you, Ma Peen. I got a system worked out that helps me remember all the names of my little peen pods. I named them after famous types of oil. Okay, dude, there's olive, castor, canola, Texaco, Valvoline, linseed, avocado. Her mother was a health food nut. Cod liver. Her mother and me met at a fish show. There's fucking... lanolin, liquid molly, and ST Peen. We call her Esty for short. Y'all, Dude, with all them teachers quitting, someone's gonna have to educate the peen pods of the future. And not just my fucking peen pod, but other people's peen pods too. Today we're gonna do part 1 in a series about meth. And since I know a lot about meth, I'm the best meth teacher in Beaver Pond, dude. Here we go. Yeah. Dude, today you're gonna learn about fractions, dude, and I bet I can hear some of you saying, Rusty, what the fuck do you know about fractions, bud? Let me tell you, dude, if you ever bought an eighth, or a quarter, or half an ounce of bud, dude, you're doing fractions right there, dude. Dude, this here's an ounce of bud. Okay, well this used to be an ounce of bud. Dude, there's 28 grams in an ounce. So if you call up your dealer and say, I want a half ounce, you just take 28 times 1/2 and you get 14 grams, bud. Dude, you take half of that, you got 7 grams, and that's a 1/4 ounce of bud right there, dude. Let's do it one more time. Cut it in half. You got 3.5 grams or an eighth of bud, dude. Shut. That's all the time we got today on Thinking Drinking. I'm Rusty Peen, and I just want to say, I'm real thankful to all them teachers who quit and gave me an opportunity to teach your little fucking peen pods. It's a fucking dream come true, so, dude, stay in school, and someday you might be as smart as a peen like me. Thinking and drinking with Rusty Peen. This here's Rusty Peen reminded you not to say no to meth. Oh shit, dude, is it say no to meth or don't say no to meth? Well, this is Rusty Peen reminding you you should probably say no to meth.
All right, we had all last week. We had a great first segment tonight, and here's the final cut from our interview with Charles Busch. So far, it's been a fantastic, interesting conversation with Charles Busch, and there's just a few more things I have to ask him. So, Charles, come back in.
Okay.
So, Charles, over the years, it seemed like you were always working on something, always something new, switching gears. What did you do during the COVID lockdown?
Well, my life hadn't changed that much because, I lead kind of a quiet life. I'm a writer, and I really happiest when I'm writing something. And we had just finished, literally as the lockdown started, I had done a play called The Confession of Lily Dare that I was in. And it was really my favorite role I've ever played. It was a homage to early 1930s women's pictures about mother love, and I got to play a young girl from sort of 16 to old crone, and it kept aging, and it was just a wonderful experience. The great cast, and we got great reviews. It was wonderful. Our limited run ended March 5th, and just in the nick of time because March 15th the theaters were all closed. So I was kind of I'd worked really hard, so I was kind of exhausted, and then just my life isn't that different because I spend so many hours writing. I'm working on a new play right now, and don't know when I'll do it, but and then I was very busy working on a book for years, a memoir, and now we're in the process of finding the right publisher for it. So
Does it have a title?
At the moment, it's just called Leading Lady. So, so I'm real excited about that. And then Carl Andrus, who's been my director for most everything I've done for the past 25 years. And he's just my very dear friend. And we had done a play a few years ago called The Divine Sister. And I wrote a screenplay of that. And we were going to try and make a movie of it. And I deluded myself into thinking it could be done very cheaply, and it really couldn't be. That movie would cost about $10 million to make it. And P.S. we're not going to get $10 million. So, so then Carl said, well, we should try to come up with an idea that really could be done so cheaply. That's not period. That could be just shot in people's apartments, that kind of movie. And it could star me and Julie Halston, who's been my stage buddy since Vampire Lesbians, but we've never really done movies together. So anyway, and we met this wonderful young producer, Ash Christian, who's did many, for a young man, he had an enormous body of work of indie films. And so we pitched him this idea of this little caper movie that would be shot down here in my neighborhood in the Village. And he loved it. And so it was called it's hard for me to say it, The Sixth Reel. And it's a contemporary caper comedy set in the world of obsessive old movie collectors and dealers. And
we've got a clip. We've got the trailer.
So
let's watch it. We'll talk later. Yes.
Okay. Hey, Gerald. I'm here. Gerald.
Your friend appears to have been dead for at least 24 hours.
Would you believe that this is the 4th time I've discovered a dead body?
Is there anything else you can tell me that's pertinent?
I am an expert in the world of cinema memorabilia.
I'll be the one to assess my uncle's estate. Old copies of TV Guide? It's a sickness!
Your uncle is more of a hoarder than a collector.
London After Midnight is the holy grail of lost films.
Jimmy, are you all right?
This reel of film could very well be your death warrant.
Can we watch it?
Are you insane? There are people out there who would gladly slit your throat to possess 10 minutes of London After Midnight.
It's at the top of my list of lost films that I would, without conscience, kill to see.
Jimmy Nichols!
Jimmy, I believe those vampires are calling.
Don't pay any attention to them.
Jimmy!
Let's make a run for it.
You cannot escape us! You have it! You have it! You have it!
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! The film has to be sold and out of our hands as swiftly as possible.
Congratulations on the cinematic find of the century.
Are you free for dinner tomorrow night?
It's gone. I can't believe you told him everything. You are a vile, despicable human being.
To protect this film, I would sleep with a lot worse than you. The Museum of Modern Art is meeting me here tomorrow to personally pick up the movie.
Helen and I have devised a foolproof plan.
We shall strive to keep this as simple and undramatic as possible.
We're looking for Jimmy Nichols?
Don't know him. Never met him. Check.
Bring the package downstairs.
Check.
Hello.
Let Max take that from you.
Jimmy.
Shouldn't we be going up 8th Avenue?
We will be taking you to a different destination.
Can somebody please tell me what is going on?
Huh?
The film must be destroyed.
No!
Rumble into dust.
I think the 4 of you have seen too many movies.
Shut your hole.
The story begins in the 1960s.
Oh, must we go back to the 60s? I'm on a diuretic.
Shut your hole, Doris. I'm into it.
So when was that filmed?
Oh my God, it was, I guess, a year ago, last October. And we were among the very first TV or film projects shot during the pandemic. It was before there was a vaccine. And it was nuts. I mean, we had such severe, strict protocols. But I have to tell you, we had probably about 80 people involved in this movie, crew and everything. Not one person got sick. We wanted to kill our COVID policeman, but he did his job, and and we had wonderful cast, and we had a lot of Broadway people who would not have been available because they would have been in their shows. We had half the cast of Hadestown in the movie. Yeah.
So what's the progress of the film? Where is it now, and where is it?
Well, we were on the film festival circuit, and we were at New Fest and Outfest and all the fests, and I think this weekend is at the Sydney LGBT Gay Festival in Australia, and we have a distributor, and it'll be out commercially. I think in June. And it'll be the usual theatrical and streaming. Anyway, I'm awfully excited about it. Yeah, so now
of
Carl and I
course.
are trying to come up with. We have a new idea for another movie and that we've written, and hope to get that done soon too.
In a earlier in our conversation, you talked about the influence that Charles Ludlam had on you, creative wise. I'm sure you get the same type of response from other people who say, "I look at you, you inspire me." What's that like?
Oh, lovely! It's lovely, and um, I guess probably every creative person goes through periods where we're of discontent and I went through kind of a bit of a late midlife crisis about 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and just where it seemed like looking back at everything I'd written didn't seem good enough, and I thought, is that all there is, and is this as good as I'm going to be? And it doesn't seem good enough. And just that, I guess, in every field, a lot of people go through that at some point in their life, and what helped me get out of it actually was the feedback from people that I mattered, that maybe I had been a role model, or I don't know, role model's not for good, inspiration or whatever, you know, and yeah, and it comes from odd quarters too. I was so shocked when I read an interview with Jim Parsons. He's a wonderful actor, and who said that what changed his life was a production college of Psycho Beach Party that he was in, that he thought as a young gay actor, that he would never be cast or there'd be no future for him. And being in that play loosened him up in a way that, it was meant a lot. And I think a lot of evidently RuPaul Drag Race people like Bianca Del Rio, and the first time they ever were in drag were in a amateur local production of one of my plays. And so it's a wonderful feeling.
I'm glad you brought up the Bianca Del Rio and some of the RuPaul girls. I had several on the show. What do you think of that style of drag compared to what you first did 35, 40 years ago?
Well, I'm a big fan. I watch it every season. Yeah, it's just by the nature of a competition show, you have to kind of narrow it down to an even playing field. So it kind of has to be people who can lip sync, and and have a definite persona and a look. I mean, that's the nature of the game. So so with that in mind, because drag has endless possibilities. It's a creative form, so what I do is different from this or this or this or this, and all valid. So, but on that show, I do think it has to be a bit of a narrower playing field, because like I'm the world's worst lip syncer. I mean, I'd be kicked off like at first commercial break. No, I mean, I just terrible. Even in Die Mommy Die in the movie, I had to do pre-record the song, and oh no, well no, no, it was Ruth Williamson sings the song. I had to sing to a track, like we do in movies, and oh, terrible. I'm slightly off, and people say to me, "Oh, it's so." I love in the movie how you're just intentionally slightly off. It's not intentional. I'm just bad at it. No. But,
Okay, Charles, you said you've got you're writing a new movie. You're writing your book. What else do you have in the pipeline? What's in the future?
That's not enough.
Not for you.
I'm working on a play. I'm working on a movie, and well, my book is sort of done, although I guess not done until it's published. But yeah, that's basically it. I'd say I think that's enough. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Charles, I can't tell you enough how pleasurable this has been, how inspiring you are to not only people like me, but people, young gay boys all over America. So thank you so much for your life's work. And I look forward to another 20, 30 years from you. So thank you so much.
Well, it's been delightful spending time with you. My God, this is like one of my longest relationships. We've been talking for so long.
Let's continue. Thank you so much, Charles.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Oh my goodness. I can't say enough. Thank you to my producer, Russell Dreyer, for arranging the interview with Charles Busch. Thank you. Wow. I can only say thank you, Mr. Busch. Thank you. Never thought I'd say that, but thank you, Mr. Busch. Thank you. And thank you, Russell Dreyer, for arranging the interview. It was just amazing afternoon. I'm so glad to share it with you. Something else I want to share with you is Pass the Tea. What's happening on RuPaul's Drag Race? Take it away, Emoji.
Girl, that's hot. Hey everyone, it's Emoji Nightmare, and this is RuPaul's Drag Race Season 14, Episode 10, the recap, Pass the Tea. I am here in sunny, gorgeous California, and so I don't have my usual setup, and you're gonna have to just roll with it just like I have, so. And also, like, this whole season. We have still 8 queens remaining, and you know who's bitter? Diabetti, of course. Jasmine and Georgia's are, of course, gooped that they both got to stay after lip syncing, and Bitter Betty says it wasn't that good, and I kind of agree. Wasn't worth a double save. Deja's in tears because she has not yet won, despite being in the top. RuPaul comes in for the mini challenge, and of course it's sponsored by Bubbly, and they're getting wrapped in bubble wrap. So they have 30 minutes to get into quick drag and create a beautiful couture outfit out of bubble wrap. And so as you can imagine, the looks weren't too bad. They were falling apart, but I actually thought for 30 minutes, these queens really put together a great outfit. And the winner of the mini challenge was Bosco. Ru announces that the maxi challenge is the Snatch Game. I get really excited because, you know, it's the Snatch Game. Everyone loves the Snatch Game. And, you know, Ru interviews the girls to try to get a sense of what they're all gonna do. And ultimately, Bosco does Gwyneth Paltrow, Willow Pill does Drew Barrymore, Deja Skye does Lil Jon, and Diabetti does Ozzy Osbourne, Lady Camden does William Shakespeare, Georges does Alana Glazer, Angeria does Tammy Brown from Drag Race Season 1, and Jasmine Kennedy is Betsy DeVos, former Secretary of Education. Dove Cameron and Raven are the 2 contestants on Snatch Game. Ooh, it's a rough Snatch Game, y'all. Totally rough. I have like a lot of sense of, I feel it, I guess. I think I would do pretty hard. I think Snatch Game is one of the things that I think I would fail miserably at. But at the same time, seeing how Deja Skye just totally gets it with Lil Jon, the rest are all really, really meh, really bad. There's not a lot of jokes. It's not that great. I think a lot of people are let down by this Snatch Game. I even polled you all to see if this was the worst Snatch Game in history. I only gave you the option of yes, because let's be real, it was bad. But yeah, it's really hard to choose the bottoms. You know, as I was watching it, I'm like, you know, no one's bombing super hard comparatively. They're all doing bad. But I'm also like, you know what? This would be a great week to eliminate 2 queens. Let's do it. It's just like, everyone was weak. Get rid of 2. On the runway, the category is Holy Couture. And this was an interesting one. So like immediately my mind went to, you know, church lady, you know, anything related to religion. And the queens really took some of them went down that route, and others took a little different of an approach. You know, Willow Pill was a mushroom because mushrooms are her religion. You know, Lady Camden did a Spice Girls look. I don't know. I'm all for, you know, the creative approaches to things, especially these categories, but I also would love to see something that really fits, like directly fits fits the theme. And this, some of them did it and a lot of them didn't. So I don't know. I actually really liked Georgis's. Hers was like a Vatican, like a Pope in the Vatican take on marijuana. I don't know. I liked it. So we get to the investigation, as Michelle Visage calls it, because really Everett did so poorly and she wanted to find out why. Willow Pill kind of related it to like when your mom says that they're not mad, they're just disappointed. Like it was very that, and it felt that. So Deja Sky wins because obviously, like she's the only one that did anything close to good. And we learned that the rest, the final 7 here, the remaining queens are gonna all have to lip sync for their lives next episode. So yes, that means yet again, we have not eliminated a queen. Okay, great. Longest series ever. Deep breaths, deep breaths. I polled you to see who you would have eliminated, and here's the result. I'm going to be live with Amber next week when we hopefully see some of these queens go. I'm hoping for a double elimination. I'm hoping for just more. I'm getting a little jaded of this group already. They're good. They're good, but are they worth a 20 episode season? I don't think so. Anyway, I'm gonna go enjoy the sunshine, and I'll see you next week live with Amber, so don't miss it.
Oh, it's getting exciting. Who's gonna go off next week? Oh, there's one person I know who has no idea what's going on in RuPaul's Drag Race, and that's Rocco Zamboni. Come on in, Rocco.
Hey, Amber, how you doing? Here I am on this pre-recorded message just for you and everybody watching. Which there better be somebody watching. So anyway, as you can see, I'm not wearing my usual fancy duds because I'm getting tired of the same old stuff. I think it's time Rocco had a makeover. You know, I'm thinking that because I'm watching Charles Busch over there looking pretty good no matter what he's wearing. Even when he's dressed as a lady, he's looking pretty sharp. You know, I'm thinking, man, lady, whatever, I'll take it. So, as far as a makeover goes, I mean, look at me. Yeah, you're saying, okay, not bad. Not bad. That ain't good enough. I'm thinking, what do I do about my hair? It's getting longer. Do I let it keep getting longer? Or do I cut it short? Do I get a full beard? Or do I shave completely? Or do I keep things as they are? I don't know. That and some new clothes. You're probably thinking, hey, if this wasn't pre-recorded, I'd be butting in and saying some snarky remarks, but you can't because it's a recording. Ha, sucker. So, I don't think I got to talk about this much longer, except that if anybody out there has ideas of how Rocco could look better, more current perhaps, let me know, because I need to look good. You know, there's things out there that, need my attention, if you know what I mean. So, that's it. That's all I got for you. I got nothing else. I've been obsessing over this looks thing. Maybe I'm vain, maybe I'm not. Who gives a crap? Anyway, have a good night, everybody. See you guys later.
I never know what Rocco's going to say, do, talk about, but I always enjoy watching him. And I've enjoyed tonight's show. I've enjoyed sharing it with you. Thank you so much for being a part of it. We'll be back live next week. See you then. Bye-bye.
Ever wonder what Amber is wearing below the camera's view? Oh, do not go there. No!